Trey Lance out there in the Bay. What did you think of Trey Lance, the number 3 pick in the draft?
So we saw him in week 1, of course, very loose play, inaccurate, and he did have good hesitation on his reads, and he showed you that he was ready to let it fly at any time. We know this is a big arm guy, that this is a dude who's definitely going to play large and really look for those big plays down the field. And as the game was going on, you saw him again, just like in week 1, both weeks, week 1 and week 2, getting ready for that big shot. But in week 1, he was really afraid to use his footwork, and that was something we discussed on last week's show, and I was like, wow. The reason people were hyping him up so much at the number 3 pick was because of the dynamics, was because of the explosiveness, the athleticism, the Josh Allen and the Cam Newton comparisons. And I'm like, where is this? I don't see any of this at all. Like, you're kind of probably pissing some Niners fans off. Then you get over to week 2, and his dropbacks are still a little choppy. I think he's going to work that out, though, as he gets through his throwing motion and through, Shanahan's system. But he's finally settling in with those underneath throws. But if there's one thing he has to tone back, is he's fastballing everything. Everything he throws that 20 yards is under, it's like at 120%. It's like you got to slow that down. Like, your receivers literally cannot get fingers on this football because you're not putting it in an efficient enough position, and that's definitely going to affect you in tight crunch times. And I know a lot of people want to say, oh, but he had 2 touchdowns. Yeah, but when you're still consistently throwing inaccurate, I get it. That's 14 points. But where are you the other 75, 80% of the time that we need you to deliver? And I don't feel like Trey Lance is there yet. This is going to be just a stock slightly up for me, though, really trending towards a push, a hold, a sideways factor. So
I'm going to go stock up with Trey Lance just because, just like when I talked about him last week, I told you he's so rusty from not having played for like 18 months, I believe it was.
Right.
He's been out of football for a long time, so it's going to take a little minute for him to knock those cobwebs off. But you did see progression from game 1 to game 2. Mm-hmm. He looked like his feet were in cement week 1, like he had been told not only not to run, but not to move up in the pocket or do anything. At least he did show us this week that he is mobile. We actually got a few flashes of the rest of his mobility and his athletic ability, as well as some very well-placed throws. As you mentioned, he is throwing the ball like a straight rocket.
He is.
And he's got sure-handed receivers looking like they can't catch it.
Right.
Like, generally, Patriot Nation does not like Mohamed Sanu. But outside of his little short stint with us, Mohamed Sanu has been a very sure-handed receiver, and he's throwing balls through his hands like he's not a veteran. It's like, hey, tone this down a little bit.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot.
I agree. Highly agree with you.
But we did get flashes of the speed. One thing I did notice about his speed is it's not like Justin Fields. He doesn't have the acceleration that Justin has.
Right.
It takes him a little second to get there. It's like he actually has to get a good break or a nice little move on the defender before he takes off. Like, Justin's a smooth... As soon as he just looks, he's taking off.
Yep.
And he's at 4.4.
That's what I love about Justin Fields.
It takes Trey a minute to get there. He's got the speed, but it's not the same kind of speed. Almost like how, you remember how RG3 was. He was really fast, but he didn't take off that quick. It's like it's different.
Right.
But I'm definitely not mad at Trey Lance at all. He had a really good showing considering what he's going from week 1 to week 2.
Right.
Nobody's expecting him to come out and start. He's got time. So long as every game he progresses, think he's going to be that guy.
Yep.
You just got to give him some time.
Yep. I agree with you.